Well, good morning, ladies and gentlemen, the participants of International Conference on Education, on Teaching and Education Research Association, ATERA. At a special occasion, we'll meet to talk about exploring pre-service teachers' experiences on pedagogical innovations in English language teaching across Southeast Asian countries. Let me start with the outlines. The first, I will talk about the background, and then I'll continue with gaps and literature review. Next, I will discuss the research methodology, and then show the findings and discussions, and we come to implication and conclusions. So let's start with the background. In the past, pedagogical innovations has been positioned as a central pillar in transforming English language teaching to meet the demands of 21st century. Across Southeast Asian governments and higher education institutions have actively promoted innovative pedagogies. If we look at some references from Reindeer's Hubbard 23, Stockwell 22, was Culver and Cairn 2020, and She 2023, we find that the existing studies on pedagogical innovation in English language teaching have largely focused on measuring instructional effectiveness, classroom implementations, and technological integration, particularly within COL and digitally mediated learning environments. And if we look at in the context of Southeast Asia, characterized by linguistic diversity, uneven education resources, and varying degrees of policy implementations, this disjunction becomes particularly salient. Pre-service teachers, as future agents of change, occupy critical yet underexplored position within this landscape. So, addressing this gap, this study seeks to explore the lived experiences of pre-service teachers in engaging with pedagogical innovation in English language teaching across Southeast Asian countries. So the study has two objectives, namely advancing the literature by shifting the focus from implementation outcomes to experiential and interpretative dimensions of pedagogical innovations. Then it also provides a cross-contextual analysis that captures the diversity and complexity of English language teaching practices across Southeast Asia. So, if we understand pedagogical innovation, I bet everyone understand that. Yeah, it includes new strategies, new methods, and approaches that aims at improving teaching and learning processes in accordance with the demands of 21st century, especially in terms of creativity, critical thinking, collaboration, and digital literacy. An innovative strategy is based on constructivism theory and places students in the center of attention as the main agent in the learning process. Even though some studies criticize conventional learning, focusing on memorizing material and applying one-way teaching methods from teachers to students, that often makes students passive and less actively involved in the learning process. And consequently, it results in low learning motivation and limited students' ability to think out of the box and solve problems innovatively. So, in my study, I employed qualitative case study design to explore the experiences of pre-service teachers in English department undertaking internship on teaching practice program. The case study here is selected as it is appropriate because it allowed in-depth investigations of complex phenomena in real-life context. That is also suggested by Yin, 2018. Well, who are the participants of my study? Initially, it involved 53 English department students from universities in several Southeast Asian countries, such as Indonesia, Thailand, Malaysia, and the Philippines. So the participants were selected based on their experience in undertaking internship program on teaching practice. And I received ethical clearance from each institutions. So initially I distributed questionnaires to 53 participants. Then it was followed up with a focus group discussions as central to data collection because it provides a structured interactive platform to explore pre-service teachers' perceptions, experiences, and challenges in implementing pedagogical innovation in English foreign language classroom. So qualitative data collected through the focus group discussions was analyzed using phenomenological content analysis as advised by Van Manen. It focuses on understanding the lived experiences and subjective meanings of the participants. And this approach was selected to capture the essence of pre-service teachers' experiences in implementing pedagogical innovation in English foreign language classroom, including both the processes they enacted and challenges they encountered. So here the range of the age of the participants. The participants' age ranges from 20 to 41, if at all they are in the same level, in the same semester, in the same year, but their age ranges from 20 to 41. 17 participants have 20 years old, and one participant is 20, sorry, 18 participants from 20 years old, and then 17 participants from 21 years old, 14 participants 22 years old, 2 participants 23, and only one is 41 years old. So after analyzing the data based on the research question, namely how is the pedagogical innovations actually experienced, interpreted and enacted by pre-service teachers across diverse sociocultural and institutional contexts, the result in terms of the types of innovation based on the result of analysis of the collected data, 7 types of innovation were found. So here we could see from the table here demonstrates the type of innovation of the pre-service teachers' experience from technology enhanced learning, then gamifications, differentiated instruction, student-centered learning, contextual learning, culturally responsive teaching, and instructional materials innovations. So here, the high frequency of the occurrence from technology-enhanced learning. This indicates that participants predominantly enacted pedagogical innovation through technology-enhanced learning strategies, including interactive PowerPoint presentation, digital worksheets, designed using Canva, then Smart TV integrations, and online quiz platform. These practices were mainly aimed at increasing student engagement and facilitating participations. And we also see that gamification here also another recurring pattern in the findings that is high. Yeah. It includes what games, interactive quizzes, and classroom competition activities. Student-centered learning also emerge across responses. So participants describe implementing collaborative learning, inquiry-based approaches, and Socratic questionings. So, and lastly, Here, number 7, instructional material. Participants also highlighted innovation through the design of instructional materials, including visually appealing worksheets, learning activity sheets, and multimedia presentations. These practices demonstrate that participants associate innovations with creative instructional design. So, overall, the findings suggest that pedagogical innovation among participants exists along a continuum. At one end, innovation is conceptualized as technology integrations and gamification engagement. At the other end, innovation involves student-centered learning, contextual relevance, and culturally responsive teaching. So this continuum reflects the development nature of pedagogical innovation in teacher education context. And the second part here, pre-service, in terms of pre-service teachers' perceptions on the concept of pedagogical innovations. Here, in terms of pre-service teachers' perceptions on the concept of pedagogical innovation, 9 focuses of perception were identified. Here we could see from the table, it includes conceptual innovation, engagement-based innovation, learning effectiveness, systematic pedagogical change, then adaptive student-centered shift, contextual and cultural, next, meaningful and inclusive, and differentiation and critical thinking. So here, there's a diverse conceptions of pedagogical innovations among pre-service teachers. The analysis of participants' responses reveals that pedagogical innovation was conceptualized in multiple ways, reflecting varying levels of pedagogical understanding. While some participants perceive innovation primarily as the use of creative media, others articulated more sophisticated interpretations, emphasizing student-centered learning, conceptualization, and pedagogical adaptations. So these findings indicate that pre-service teachers do not hold a uniform understanding of innovation. Rather, their perceptions range from technical implementation to deeper pedagogical transformations. So what do the findings mean? These findings indicate that respondents interpret pedagogical innovation not simply as the use of technology, but as a student-centered and adaptive process. Most respondents emphasize the importance of student engagement, contextual relevance, and flexibility in adapting learning strategies. This perception indicates a shift from technical understanding of innovation to a more pedagogical reflective one. So, ladies and gentlemen, we offer some implications here. First is for teacher education programs. So from the findings, it suggests that teacher education programs should move beyond promoting technology integrations and explicitly emphasize pedagogical innovation as a holistic process. Courses and practicum experiences should incorporate structured training on differentiated instruction, culturally responsive teaching, and contextual learning. By doing so, pre-service teachers can develop deeper conceptual understandings of innovation that extend beyond engagement-oriented strategies. And another implication is for practicum and mentoring. The findings indicate that mentoring during teaching practice plays a crucial role in shaping perceptions of innovation. Therefore, cooperating teachers and supervisors should explicitly model innovative pedagogical practices that incorporate inclusivity, differentiation, and cultural responsiveness. Next, the implication for future research is that perhaps the study explore how pre-service teachers' understanding of pedagogical innovation develops over time, particularly across different practicum contexts. Longitudinal research could examine whether exposure to inclusive and culturally responsive pedagogies leads to more transformative innovation practices. Well, ladies and gentlemen, let me conclude. So this study explored pre-service teachers' enactment of pedagogical innovation during their teaching practice. The findings demonstrate that pedagogical innovation was predominantly operationalized through technology, enhanced instruction, gamification, student-centered learning strategies. Participants frequently utilize interactive digital tools, creative instructional materials, and collaborative activities to increase student engagement and participations. So these practices indicate that pre-service teachers are actively adopting innovative teaching approaches aligned with contemporary educational demands. Overall, this study highlights that while pre-service teachers demonstrate strong motivation to innovate, their practices remain primarily engagement driven. So I think that's all for my presentation, everyone. Thank you very much for your attention and see you. Bye bye.